What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a fresh batch of tattoos to go over and review. Last week's episode was, hopefully this week is a little bit better. I do love seeing these bad tattoos, but I'd like to see some good ones this week, so hopefully we've got something in the tank to review, and if not, whatever, that's fun too. We've got a lot of tattoos to get through, so I don't want to waste any time, so let's just jump into it. YA sent in this little skeleton. It seems to only be about 2 inches high, so I'm pretty impressed with the size. He wanted to remain anonymous, and again, I'm not sure why you didn't send in your name because this is free advertising, and this is a really cool tattoo. You know, there's a few little shading things that I would work on, but other than that, overall, it's pretty dope. It's well put together. Obviously, the contrast is there. I would be curious to see what it looks like without all that black and maybe just an outline or a little less black, but I don't hate it. The one thing that sticks out to me is the bottom of the shade where it's that opaque gray shade that kind of got away from you on the ankle. I'm assuming that you kind of caught his ankle bone a little bit, and that's what made it a little more stronger than the rest of the shade coming out from that. But that's okay, it's something that can be easily repaired. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this guy, it being so small. Not a whole lot there, but I do like it. I think it's a cool tattoo. Thanks, YA, I appreciate you sending that in. If you want people to know who you are, YA, leave your Instagram handle in the comments below so people can find you. Again, I think your work is cool and I think it should be seen. Thanks again. Cramer sent us in this next tattoo, this little pop art style nun with some devil horns, this little color in the background with the word repent, very big in front. Overall, I like what you did with this tattoo. I like the design. I do wish the repent was a little more clean and bold. The glow from the repent maybe could have carried on over to the black a little bit more, maybe even onto her a little bit, just to make it seem like it's actually glowing. The picture isn't the best quality, so I can't tell exactly what you did, but how I would have attacked the repent was with a red outline and then the boldest red I have closest up to the outline and then kind of fading out to that black as we go out. I'm just not sure if that's what you did here or not, again, because the picture isn't the best quality, but I do like the black and the red that you have in the back and the little devil horns that you added and the effect throughout the nun's face. As far as technical ability goes though, again, I'm just having a hard time reading it because of the quality of the photo. Keeping in mind, anybody who's sending in photos in the future, try to send them as best quality as you can. It just makes it very hard to critique when I can't really see the lines up close. It does kind of seem like her left eye is a little too far out, especially if her head is slightly tilted. I think that that eye should be in just a hair more, and that might have just been a little bit too much with the black shading. Again, kind of nitpicking in that little area. I like the idea of this, Hunter. I just wish, I wish the picture was a little bit better quality so I could give you an honest and thorough critique. There's just not much I can say when I can't really see the tattoo that well. But thank you anyway for sending that in. If you've got another one you want to send me, just make sure that the picture's a little bit better quality. Next up we have Mhill Marku, who sent in a tattoo. He sent in this cross and some rosary. I want to kind of pivot real quick and point out one thing. I'm not exactly sure what the standards are in Kosovo as far as cleanliness and sterility, but I do want to point out that I do see your machine on the table in the back. That machine should be bagged, especially if it's on a dirty table like that. You shouldn't have the bottle of stencil stuff on the same table. It's cross-contamination. Again, I'm not sure what the standards are in Kosovo, but it's things like that that I see that are a little bit cringy, okay? Being sterile is just as important as laying down a good tattoo. Otherwise, you can pass on diseases and things like that that you might not be aware of. Back to the tattoo. On this tattoo overall, I feel like you do need to work on your line structure and foundation. The most important part of a tattoo is your line structure and your line weight, and which this needs a lot of work. It just kind of seems like you're rushing through this entire thing and not really putting a lot of effort in getting these lines to look as solid and straight as they should, especially when it comes to this cross that is made up of several parallel straight lines. Any little variation you're going to be able to tell. And I can tell right away that a lot of these parallels aren't exactly parallel. If we look at the two lines on the top of the cross, this one kind of comes in, this one comes straight down. The two on the side, this line's kind of coming up, this other line's kind of coming down. There's a little squigglies here and there. There are a couple spots where it looks like you might have tried to sculpt a line but missed going over the previous line, so now we have two lines there. If we look on the right side of the cross on the lower hand side, you'll see what I mean. The rosary throughout, it looks like you have shaded some of the rosary and then you left some of the rosary unshaded in the part where that little highlight runs through. I get where you were going with this, but it's just not reading well. The rosary part that's shaded at the bottom, the little beads are just shaded from what look like to be the bottom up, and they are spheres. You have to make them look like tiny spheres or tiny little balls. You need to give them the shading that they deserve and give them maybe a little white highlight or a little skin tone highlight in the middle of those, because right now they're all just kind of falling flat. And then when you don't have any shading in the ones in the white highlight, those immediately fall flat. You could have had a lighter shading in those rosary beads in the highlight and a darker shade in the rosary beads at the bottom, and it still give that same effect. And just because those beads are illuminated or white doesn't mean that they can lack shading. You can still have a white object with a little bit of light shading on the bottom and they still give off the appearance that they're white or highlighted. As far as the shades go, on the side of that highlight that's running through, it's a bit scratchy. And one way to cure that is just slowing down your hand speed. This looks like a very fast, scratchy hand speed going on in the back. Slow down your machine, slow down your hand, and put those strokes where they need to go. Thank you, Mhill, for sending that in. Hopefully you learned something from this. I'm not trying to bash you in any way, shape, or form. I want you to do better tattoos. It's what this whole entire channel is about. So thank you again for letting me talk about your tattoo online. I do appreciate you. Adorjan sent in a few stick and poke tattoos, and granted these aren't the best quality, but they make me smile. Stick and poke is generally hand poked in. It's no machines involved. It's usually done with some sort of Indian ink or something like that, and a needle, and you just slowly poke away at your skin. And generally they're meant to be a little folk arty, and usually not the best quality. You'd like to know how to clean these up a bit. I really wouldn't worry about that. They're stick and poke tattoos. Let them live as they are. There's not a lot of advice I can give you on these, as I don't do stick and poke tattoos. The flower tattoo you sent over, not a huge fan of the design, really, at all. I could be wrong. I think there's a woman's figure behind this flower. I see maybe an arm. Not sure. The other tattoos make me smile, though. The horse I love. I don't know why. I can't tell if those are flies or butterflies hanging around him. And he's got a cool wardrobe, so there's that. Yeah, stick and poke generally isn't a springboard into real tattooing. It's usually done at home, DIY, from people with no experience, which we don't suggest. You can also get these done in prison, so. But thanks, Adorian, for sending those in. They were fun. Next up, Medina sent in this tattoo, who is also from Chicago. And thank God it's decent, because I don't want you showing up at my door trying to beat me up. But this thing's dope. Dope movie, dope tattoo overall. I love the composition and the way you design this thing. I love the juxtaposition of the color on top with the black and white on bottom, that they live in the middle. Everything about this is cool. The texture you have in the eyeball at the top. There's a lot going on, but it's not overdone. But I do love the little glitchy lines that you have throughout the alien's face, that you can actually tell he's looking through a vintage TV in his glasses. This thing has it all. Very enjoyable tattoo to look at, reads well, the technical ability is there. If I were to say one tiny thing, I'm nitpicking this, but the top line of the glasses kind of got a little shaky. Nothing that a little liner or a mag could clean up really quick. But again, I'm nitpicking. But yeah, I figured I would just have to say something about it because it is there. Thanks again, Danny, for sending that in. Rock solid tattoo. And you're from Chicago, so come say what's up one day. Levi Van Campen sent in these next tattoos. There's a couple I'm gonna go through. The first one is this Live Fast, Die Abides tattoo. Yeah, he's obviously some sort of punk. I see Oi on his hand. First of all, I think it's hilarious. It's a very humorous tattoo. And secondly, I think the technical application in this is great as well. There's a few things here and there that got a little bit loose, but overall, nice solid line weights, nice shades in color. If I were to break it down a little bit, I'd say your line quality is about 80% where it should be. There are a few small things here and there that I would tweak. Spacing between some letters, like if you look at the Die and the Abides, the spacing between the DIE is a little bit further apart than the ABE on Abides. And the Live Fast up top, the top of the banner has a little bit of a crook in it. The donut could have been a pretty key element in this tattoo if you would have just spent a little more time on that guy, making it look like a scrumptious donut, or making it look as good as the hamburger to the left or the bag of popcorn. I feel like the donut just falls short, but again, it's a tiny piece in this, a really cool tattoo. Another cool element with this tattoo is the blue tattoos he's got, like the old school faded out blue tattoos. Nice addition, and I could tell that's a PBR can, so good on ya. I feel like maybe it's a little backwards in his mouth, like his uvula should have been red and the back of his mouth should have been black. But good tattoo. Another tattoo Levi sent in was this tattoo on the roof of a mouth, which is bonkers. I've never done one of these yet. I have no idea how difficult these are. I've tattooed inner lips and things like that, but never the roof of a mouth. It does look like there's a tiny little blowout in the bottom part, which I'm sure is very easy to happen in a spot like this. Yeah, man, that shit is crazy. That had to hurt. Very rad. So go check out Levi's work. Does anybody else have any tattoos on the roof of their mouth? Let me know in the comments. Let me know how it feels. Send them to me. I'd love to see them. And thanks again, Levi, for sending those in. I appreciate you. The next one is sent in from Taheh. It's Taheh Tattoos. We're gonna look at this Brad Pitt tattoo from the movie Fight Club. I love the way this tattoo looks, the way it sits, and the colors, but I do want to point out one thing, and that's the sharpness over the entire image. It looks like this image's sharpness has been bumped way up, and I can kind of tell by looking at the person's arm and the wall behind them. I could see all this grain going on. So immediately it just makes me think that this picture was sharpened, so I'm just going to judge off what I see. But keep that in mind with your photos. If you're gonna do any sort of editing, a lot of us who have been in this game for a long time can kind of see and point those things out rather quickly. I apologize if I'm wrong, but it really does look like you sharpened this photo. That being said, it's a good tattoo. Good tonal variation with the colors. I like the texture you've got in the hair, and I like his facial wrinkles. I do think his right eye could be darkened in a bit because it's kind of standing out a bit too much to me. If I can't see the iris in his left eye, where the shadow isn't, then I feel like I shouldn't be able to see the iris in his right eye, where the darker part of the face is. And the shadow on his forehead just doesn't seem as believable as the rest of the shadows going on. And I think that could just be lack of black or lack of gradient coming down onto the skin, or a combination of both. But I do see a few holidays in that black shadow, which makes it seem like it's not as saturated as it should be. It does get a little lost in that shadow where it seems like the forehead is a little longer than it should be. And again, you just kind of have to control what is going on in those shadows. In the darkest of parts, so that's where the hair is going to meet the forehead. Those should be 100% black, and then maybe lift up a little bit, 95%, 90% black on the forehead to where there is a clear distinction. I know sometimes in shadows, the occlusion happens where you can't tell exactly where the hair begins or the forehead begins. In most cases you can, especially when it's that far down onto his forehead. There should be some sort of gradient or light coming through. But overall, again, I like this tattoo a lot. It looks good. I like the size, obviously. Good job. But thank you so much, Taheh, for sending that in. So let's get into my favorite tattoo of the week, which happens to be Daniel Medina from my hometown of Chicago. Trust me, that had nothing to do with me picking this tattoo. I just think it's a really badass tattoo overall and a great concept and idea. I think it was a home run, from the beginning. Like I said, from the juxtaposition of the color to the black and white, from the texture to the smoothness and the little effects that it has in it as well. So excellent job, Daniel. Congratulations, making the Midwest proud. Now for this week's toilet tattoo. Sorry, Mhill, but your cross kind of takes this week's winner in the toilet tattoo. And I'm only giving you this award because overall it just seems like a rushed tattoo and maybe even done by an amateur. It doesn't make me want to go to church, but this tattoo needs Jesus. But thanks again, Mhill. I wish you the best. Please send me some more in the future. I'd like to see how you're progressing in a year or so. Thanks again, everybody, for watching this week's video. Did I miss something today? Let me know. Leave a message in the comment box below. Let me know your opinions on what your favorite tattoo was or even your least favorite tattoo. Make sure you hit that notification bell and subscribe. And make sure you head over to my Instagram as well. We're going to be putting together a list and we need your help to vote on which your favorite tattoos were from the previous videos, as well as the least favorite. We're going to be sending out some prizes just to make this a bit more fun. Keep sending in those tattoos and we'll see you next time. Peace.